Hi all, Mark Boulay here again. Looking forward to working with you for another week. Uh, in the last module, we explored this term sustainability and looked at some different perspectives and critiques that have to do with this. This week, I'd like to do the same, but expand that a little bit and include education and more specifically education for sustainability and look at perspectives and critiques associated with those particular concepts and terms. And what I'll do is give you a bit of an overview of that module in a moment. Just as an aside, I really been enjoying the contributions and the comments you've been making on the discussion forum, and I urge you to keep going with those. These, together with the learning activities and the readings, are really designed to help you get your thoughts together around the space and help you with the assignments that are coming up, obviously, both the two assignments that are associated with this particular unit. So continue to engage with the readings, have a go at the learning activities, and we look forward, as Iris has said also, to your various contributions on the discussion forum. But let's get stuck into this week and what I want to do for this module. And there's three aims to this particular module. I want to explore both the nature and the connections between education and education for sustainability. I'd like to look at some examples of sustainability education or education for sustainability in practice. And as always, I'm keen to hear and read what you think. What do the readings and the learning activities for this week mean for you, both professionally and personally? As again, we're looking at broadening your own ideas and your own conceptions of these particular terms. So what this video will do will be to provide you with an overview of this week's module. It'll highlight and talk a little bit about the required and the optional readings that I've set. It'll describe the two learning activities for this week. And last, I'm going to remind you of the discussion forum as well as the optional face-to-face session that are going to be occurring. We've spent the last 2 weeks considering both some of the sustainability challenges facing humanity and the planet, as well as the sustainability principles and frameworks that are proposed to address these. Something which often strikes me is the idea that more education is needed as part of the solution, or at least that's what some of these frameworks and principles talk about. We need to educate people for sustainability. David Orr is a well-known writer in the area of sustainability and environmental education, and this is one of his better-known quotes. And for me, it challenges the idea that addressing sustainability is just a matter of providing more education, and hints that education, in its current form at least, is part of the problem. So this is the idea that I want to explore with you through the first of the readings, which actually comes from David Orr. He asks, what is education for? And highlights issues with the current system, approach, and ethos of education. And he then goes on to provide some ideas of what education could instead be like. In essence, Orr is arguing that more of the same education will just contribute to current sustainability issues. And for education to be part of the solution, there needs to be changes to how, what, and why we educate. And he provides some suggestions there. The second reading gives us an opportunity to think about education as part of the solution a little bit further. Stephen Sterling, who's another leading writer and thinker in this space, outlines how education could change to be more responsive to the times and the challenges we face. I want these readings to challenge you not just in your ideas of what education is for, but more specifically to challenge ideas of this concept of education for sustainability. Now, you would have seen education for sustainability used in previous readings and learning tasks, and in fact is one that's increasingly being used. Yet this is often used in a very certain way. And again, when I did a very simple exercise of Googling education for sustainability, it reveals images that hint at what that dominant view of this concept looks like. And what I want you to do is contrast this view and consider what it means for education and for education for sustainability by going through the readings. If you're interested in exploring this issue of what education is for, both generally and also specifically for sustainability, I've suggested 2 additional readings. The first is again from Stephen Sterling, and he looks at sustainability education from the perspective of transforming people and asks, what are we actually transforming? He provides a hierarchy of outcomes that education could strive for, from first order change that does things better to third order change that challenges and changes existing paradigms. He argues that while education and education for sustainability should strive for all of these changes, third order change is usually neglected in favour of the first, and this is typical of practice around the world. The second optional reading comes from the educational philosopher Gert Biester, who asked the question, what is education for more generally? It's worth thinking about this and comparing it to the arguments from Sterling and Orr and see how they may or may not overlap. So that's the overview of this week's module. I hope you enjoy it, and please remember that I'm not seeking to provide you with any concrete answers to the questions that are driving the module. This is all about, as I've said before, challenging and broadening. And I'm going to have to stop using those terms before they become tired. I've already mentioned them, but just to recap the readings for this week. The first required readings, there's one from Orr and one from Stephen Sterling, and you have access to those through the Moodle page and through the reading list that is provided for this unit. The 2 optional readings, again one from Stephen Sterling and the other from Gert Biester, and the Moodle page provides you with the references for those, and I encourage you to have a look at them. Now, your learning tasks for this week, and again they obviously utilise the readings, particularly when it comes to comparing and contrasting. The first of the learning tasks or learning activities is a hypothetical exercise, and I want you to imagine you're about to teach a group of people about sustainability. And I want you to think about what you would include, what you would exclude, and how and where you actually would teach this. This doesn't need to be a long, detailed answer. It can just be a brainstorming list of ideas and thoughts. Then think about how these compare and contrast with the Sterling and Orr readings. For the second activity, I'd like you to look at 1 or 2 current sustainability education programs and consider what they do and do not focus on. How are they similar or different to what Orr and Sterling write about? I'm happy for you to look at any programs you might be aware of from around the world, but if you need some guidance, I've provided you some links on the Moodle page to 3 Australian programs and 1 from the UK, and you're welcome to go and have a look at them. I then look forward to your contributions in the discussion forum as usual. As we've said before, this is an opportunity to share your reflections, your ideas, and your questions from the readings and the learnings, and not just get answers obviously from myself, but from those other students involved in this particular unit. There are no right or wrong contributions. Use this to frame your thoughts and to hear from others. It's all good prep for the assignments. And a reminder that there is also a face-to-face session this Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. and the details for that are provided on the Moodle page. So this concludes the module overview, including the readings and the learning activities. I hope you enjoy them, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. As usual, any questions or comments, you can email me directly or just ask in the discussion forums. Thanks all, and speak soon.